Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel for war number 10 of season 41. This is going to be a short one compared to the last couple of wars in that I'm only taking 3 fights and placing a few pre-fights, but it is a pretty cool war because it's actually the first time that I've ever brought Shang Chi to war. He's a pretty new rank 3 for me. I took the longest time to actually get him on my account, but I think it was 2 featured crystals ago I finally pulled him a few times, so he's a pretty fresh rank 3, and I know a lot of people have been high on this guy for like years now, I guess, or over a year, but it will be my first time using him and seeing what he's all about. He also has the tactic, and like I talked about in my last war video with Overseer, you know, when you have a tactic champion, it does stretch them out to take fights that they wouldn't normally take, and that's kind of what we're going to see when he goes up against a buffet over time mini boss of Mr. Fantastic in just a moment here. So we place our first pre-fight. It's a good time to just really quickly say the fact that I got 3 fights this war has very little to do with like confidence in me from officers. This happens every once in a while where you just need to fit the right counters in the right places and they trust you to get the job done. Even though the volume of fights is less, the fights are still equally stressful and we go for it. So anyway, here is our first mini boss here. This is Reed. He has buffet over time, so we want to get our neutralize up before we do anything. And I had a strategy. We go into the block, but then I hesitated because I realized I did not have a neutralize up, which meant when we do our kick like that, we would have gotten some precision buffs on us and would have triggered the buffet over time. So that's why I hesitated there, but it should be fairly smooth the rest of the time. There we have to trigger buffet over time because we had the dexterity on us. My plan is mostly to be doing the stun wushu followed by the slow wushu. We got to keep that slow up, and I was thinking about going for a special 2 here, but I was a little worried that the slow would end before I could get anything going, so I decided to go for a special 3. And again, we have to keep that slow up. We don't want to go unblockable because that increases his ability to evade, and Reed is kind of weird and he might even evade during the slow. We weren't sure about that, but fortunately the neutralize and now a fate seal has come into play, I think, off of that special 3. So we go for the stun wushu, and during the stun you can do medium to get the slow back up and then do your kick to reset all your wushus. We do it again. It's a very safe loop, and you can even do it in block if he happens to go unblockable. So here we go again, full 5-hit combo. We get the stun. We do a cleansing strike into the final special 2, which is plenty of overkill, and he goes down. So yeah, that went pretty smoothly for my first Shang Chi fight. Gotta give credit to MP Blaze who gave me the strategy, and also big thank you to folks like Vega, J Will, Anaz, like a bunch of my friends that have been using that guy for many seasons. I had lots of good models for how to use this guy. He is a little stressful to play if you haven't played him a lot because there's a lot to keep track of, but I did have a good rotation there and he goes down. So now we're going to finish up the war with 2 path 1 fights using Overseer. Again, having the tactic here means that something like the power gain is very often going to be neutralized here. So we are basically just fighting a Mordo who is going to occasionally regen when we like double clutch our dash back. If that happens too many times, then he is going to go unblockable. So we have to be a little careful of that, but anytime we prevent a buff, like his power gain buff with a neutralize, we get gamma power, plus he's gaining power pretty quickly, so we are able to get to 6 gamma within 25 hits, and then now we are in cosmic mode, and 1 power gain does get through, so we are running an invuln just in case. Got to be a little careful of power there. Retaliation is doing a lot of damage. Our lights are doing a lot of damage. We're not really in danger of unblockable because this cosmic mode is going to take him down the rest of the way. I normally wouldn't throw a special 1 since it would stun him, but because I knew that was going to finish him, we went for it and he goes down. So another example of the neutralize helping us and Overseer just being a monster. And then finally, we are stretching Overseer once again to take on this thing. The thing has buffet over time, but of course we are nullify immune, so that's never going to come into play. Essentially, the buffet is turned off because of the nullify immune. So we are essentially just playing thing as we would like a vanilla thing. We are just counting our rock stacks. But the one thing to note is that in addition to the fact that we are counting rock stacks, it is possible if we get stuck that the neutralize could help us. Like if we get absolutely stuck and we have to hit him over 15, it's kind of like when I've taken thing with Tigra, you can actually push him over 15 and the unstoppable will be neutralized. However, I think for my little brain, that's a little bit too much to keep track of. Like I could have hit him there, but I decided to just stay the course and just pretend I didn't have the neutralize so that we could just play thing the way we always play thing, which is managing the rock stacks. Now, the thing I love about a high sig Overseer is anytime you punish a special or a heavy attack, you get a burst of damage off of the retaliation. That really adds up, even before you get into cosmic mode. Now, my plan in this fight was to go for a special 3. When I was dueling, I did a special 2, and that puts a disorient on him, which is fine. Disorient is normally a positive thing. However, when you are trying to manage rock stacks, the disorient can actually occasionally make the rock stacks fail, which means it's a little bit harder to keep track of how close to 15 you are when you don't know if it's going to definitely proc a rock stack. But here, again, this retaliation damage is so heavy. And it also, because of the special concussions, sometimes he will throw a special and not go unblockable, and that also counts as retaliation damage. And then, of course, anytime buffet is prevented, it's retaliation damage. So, yeah, there's so many ways to ramp Overseer on that fight, and we got to see him take a thing as if it was nothing. So anyway, that was my war. These guys played us extremely well. This was HC... is it AR, I think? They're having a very good season, and they absolutely creamed us. So unfortunately, even though I've been having a good war, the Alliance just couldn't quite catch up with how few deaths they had, and we did take a loss here, which puts us at 6-4 going into the final 2 wars. I believe if we win one of the 2 wars, we still have a chance at top 10. Obviously, we would love to win both of them and then secure a spot in the top 10, but either way, the Alliance has been very consistent and performing at a high level, and I've been having a lot of fun, and it was great to finally use Shang Chi after all these years, so that was a highlight of the season for me for sure. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this shorter one. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.